How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to this episode of 1 Hour Wills Live. You need to watch this video if you're even thinking about getting an online will, because until you see it, you won't be ready. That's what we're going to talk about next on this episode of 1 Hour Wills Live. All right. How's everybody doing on this, what feels like week 100 of coronavirus lockdown? Totally necessary. I get it all. Just, man, I know we're all ready for this to be over. It's also a great day outside. So when you put all that together, it's just kind of a bummer. But hey, I want to talk to you because one of the things that coronavirus has on a lot of people's minds is getting their will done. All right. I mean, you can look at Google Trends and look for the search for wills, and it's basically flat for like 14 years. And then all of a sudden, boom, it goes through the roof recently. So people are thinking about these things. They're going online. They're trying to figure out how do I get this done, right? They're trying to think about how to get it done at a time when it's really the hardest time to do it because they can't go anywhere. So using an attorney seems like almost an impossibility at this point. So they're looking at online options. And one of the things that brought this to mind for me and why I wanted to make this video for you was, man, the marketing out there is crazy on this stuff. So right now I'm getting, seems like I can't open a browser tab without a trust and will coming up. Some ad from them or LegalZoom. Everybody wants to sell you a will right now. And what I want to make sure you understand as somebody who maybe doesn't live in this world is what to look for, what to think about when you're deciding whether to get an online will at all or how to do it if you do want to do that. So I'm going to give you 5 things to consider today that I think are the most important things you can think about when you're doing this at all. I call them the 5 C's, all right? So we're going to launch into that here because I want you to see this. I want you to understand and walk through with me, understand what's important to you. These are 5 things you just absolutely have to consider when you're thinking about getting your will done. All right, the first one is kind of obvious. It's usually the one that drives people to online wills in the first place is cost, right? And not just cost in terms of dollars, but time as well, right? This is a time and money issue. So one of the things I've noticed that honestly seems like an almost unhealthy thing right now is that a lot of our dear friends in the online will world, let me throw this up here. This is a mailer that I got recently from our folks at Trust and Will. They have, let me maximize this so you can see this a little bit. They're making a point to talk about how you can get a complete estate plan done in minutes, And while that sounds appealing on its face, I want to ask you something. How important is it to you to make sure that you and your loved ones are taken care of with the documents that you're going to get? Is it really important that you do that? Admittedly, you're probably thinking this is down the road a little bit. You know, God willing, this is something we're talking maybe years from now, decades from now, but still, when you need those documents, you really want them to work and you want them to work well. So let me ask you this. Is it something that deserves more than minutes from you? That's something you have to ask yourself. And of course, there's a cost in dollars, right? I understand people's budgets are what they are. And it's true that working with an attorney can cost multiple hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on the attorney you use, but it doesn't have to be that expensive. And even when you're looking at the online options, most of them are hovering in that kind of $200-ish range, especially for a couple. If it's a married couple, 2 people working together, you're looking in that kind of range. But the question that I want you to think about, just remember there's that cost consideration. It's not the only thing to think about as you're going through this process. So let's take you to step number 2. Let's think about thing 2, which in my view is convenience, right? I mean, how easy is it? Right now, in particular, there's no question that the online stuff is by far and away the most convenient thing to do. Getting to an attorney's office, going somewhere else, that's not even really a possibility for a lot of us. So there is the convenience factor, but even when you can move around, the question of, do you want to have to travel to an attorney's office or not? Or do you want to be able to do everything from your phone or your laptop? Those are real questions, right? That's another form of cost in a sense, but it's sort of that demand on you about what you want to do. How convenient is this for you? All right, the next one is completeness. Now we're moving kind of from the what am I thinking about in terms of engagement with it? And then now we're moving on to what does the tool itself do? When I have this plan, is it going to be everything I need? Right? Now you're going to want to think about that because for a lot of people, admittedly, basically simple documents, straightforward documents are going to be complete enough for them. They're probably going to be looking at a basic will, maybe with an embedded trust. Maybe you add a rev trust, depending on your situation, revocable living trust. That's something that can help you take care of a surviving spouse, as well as potentially avoid probate, which is exactly how they're selling that stuff, by the way. So there's certainly that. You can also look at the question, though, of whether you have a special situation that might require additional documents, or as we'll talk about the next C, which is, what is the next C? Oh, the next C, I'm sorry. The next C is customization. Don't forget your stuff while you're live TV, people, what are you gonna do? So there's completeness and customization. Those two kind of run together. The idea of, are you getting all the documents you need? And then inside each document, are you getting particular text that you need to take care of your situation? So if you have somebody, for example, if you're taking care of a special needs person in your family, whether that's a child or someone else, if you are a high net worth person, and so you're thinking about trying to protect things from taxes, if you are someone who is actually the beneficiary of another trust, and you might have some sort of what's called a power of appointment that you need to exercise in that trust, somebody else's trust, but you need to exercise it in your documents, right? These are the sorts of questions that, frankly, no online will builder is going to help you with. Okay, they just aren't. So that's a situation you're going to want to ask yourself: do I need to talk to an attorney here? Those are some great questions to ask when you're thinking about this. And then the final C is coverage, and this may be the biggest one. What do I mean by coverage? I mean, is anybody standing behind the documents that you get? All right, because the reality is, let's just take a look. Now, I think this bit, I'm going to maximize this so you guys can see this really well here. I think this bit really matters. So here's the backside of that same trust and will mailer that I had before. Now, first you're going to see, oh, they're going to say you get it all in just minutes. Okay, well, we've already talked about that from the cost perspective. Our experts are standing by to help. This actually goes to the coverage issue of whether anybody is standing behind your documents or not. All right, because the reality is they are almost certainly not. Here's what I mean. These experts who are standing by to help, who are going to walk through these documents with you, you'll just say it's an attorney-led team. It doesn't mean it's attorneys. Okay, they are very, very careful. Let me show you, to tell you that they are going to not have anything to do with being responsible for your, whoops, go back to that and get out of this for a minute. And let me show you, for example, let's just look at LegalZoom. I'm going to throw them under the bus, all right? But just going to take a look. I want you to know that I'm getting this directly from them. I'm not making this stuff up. You look down here and you go to their terms of use. You might not be able to see that too clearly. Let's bump this out, all right? So you see terms of use down here. So I'm going to take you straight there. I'll represent to you that I've already done that. And here's what it looks like. This is going to be a little, just a tad. All right, that's good. Now, here's what I want you to see. First, they've got this binding arbitration agreement, all right? But they've got this, even more importantly, they are going to be super clear that they have no warranty at all. Look at this. This site applications and all materials, documents, or forms provided on or through the use of this site are provided as is, as available basis. Right, they're just claiming all warranties, express or implied, warranties, merchantability, fitness for a purpose, not infringement. In other words, friends, they are telling you, and then look down here at the liability, limitation of liability and indemnification. The bottom line is they are telling you that they aren't standing behind anything. Now, here's what I want you to know. That's not unique to LegalZoom at all. Let's take a look at our friends at Trust and Will. Let me pop this back out here. All right, Trust and Will. It's a very aesthetically pleasing site. I will certainly give them that. But look right here. It's an online service providing legal forms of information. They are not a substitute for a law firm or a lawyer's advice. Well, I completely agree with that. And then let's take a look yet again, giant no warranty language. You think they might have copied from each other here. As is, as available basis. Use of these services is at your own risk. Bottom line, friends, and again, I don't mean to dump on these folks too hard. The truth is, they're not standing behind their documents at all. 0%. They are, to the maximum extent of the law, saying, listen, if you buy documents from us, that's great. It's on you if they don't work. Now, that's a major cost in my mind, right? That's why I talk about this coverage. So who else is going to stand behind it? If you work with an attorney, here's some upside. First, you have an actual relationship with that person. So if you have questions about your documents or you see things that make you scratch your head and maybe need to be changed, you can actually talk to that person and get it done, right? So that, to some extent, is the customization bit. But here's the coverage part. Let's say your attorney makes a mistake in your documents. Unlike our friends at LegalZoom, Trust and Will, again, this is true of all of them. I encourage you to go look. Rocket Lawyer, go look at Dave Ramsey's his legal provider, which is called Mama Bear Legal Forms. They all have the same stuff. They're all going to tell you they're not law firms. They're not responsible for anything. If something goes wrong, don't talk to them. Don't sue them. It's all the same stuff. But here's the thing. If you work with an actual attorney, we don't have the luxury of walking away from that. We actually are responsible for what we produce. All right, we are personally liable to some extent, and we are certainly liable with respect to our malpractice insurance that we all carry. All right, so if we malpractice and that harms you and your family, there's actually somebody standing behind that. Whereas if you use one of these online will builders, there's nobody standing behind that. Now, all of that being said, am I saying that you should never, ever, under any circumstance, use an online will building tool? I want to be super clear that that is not what I'm saying. Here's what I am saying, though. Whoops, let me get through my arrows here. By the way, so here's the big, I will just note this. So here's the big upside is they'll ship their documents to you. Friend, you make that decision for yourself whether you think pressing print on your printer is a major selling point or not. You know, not having to do that matters to you, but clearly Trust and Will hopes you think that. Here's my big takeaway. If you're going to get a will online, get one for free. Seriously. If you're not going to work with an attorney in any shape or form, if you're not going to get any of those benefits of knowing, of having that counsel so you can be sure that you've got a complete, customized plan that actually makes sense for you, right? And there's coverage that you can have the trust and confidence of knowing that there's an attorney and their malpractice carrier, frankly, standing behind that document. If you're not going to buy that, and you're just going to go online and you want to take as few minutes as humanly possible to get something as cheap as possible where there's nobody standing behind it anyway, why not get it for free? There are free providers out there. True story. You don't have to pay a red hot cent to get documents for you and your family if you don't want to. You can go to, there's one I know, doyourownwill.com, for example. I am not advocating for them. I have no relationship with them whatsoever. All right. Use them at your own risk. But I do want you to understand, you can get you can get a will, you can get power of attorney, you can get a medical power of attorney, you can get a living will, you can get all of those things completely for free at doyourownwill.com if you feel like it. There are other places too. Okay. So my encouragement to you, honestly, is if you're going, because nobody's standing behind those things. So if you're going to go get documents where nobody's standing behind them anyway, and you won't know the difference. I do want to go back to one slide here, because I think this is, I forgot to mention, well, actually, you can see it on this one. Hundreds of 5-star reviews at trustandwill.com. Let me step back through my slides for just a minute here. Let me get back to this mailer. This Trustpilot score down here, all right? Let me tell you something. I know we all shop looking for the little stars. Here's what I want you to know. Nobody who gave those ratings has compared these things. They said, oh yeah, I got a LegalZoom will one time, and then I got a Trust and Will, and then I did this, and I took them all to a lawyer and had them checked out to make sure that one's actually better than the other. It's not true. What they're basing this on is, well, they had a really pretty website, and I filled in some stuff, and then I got documents. Yay! Well, guess what? You can do that anywhere. Okay? It literally in minutes, if you want to. That's how this can work. And in my view, instead of paying Trust and Will $100+ to print out documents, give you that kind of Apple experience where, ooh, it comes in a pretty package, right? Save yourself and your family the $100+. Go to a place like doyourownwill.com for free. Get documents that, let's face it, you're not going to know the difference. My guess, you don't. I'm not comparing them for you. I'm not putting my legal stamp on them for sure. Okay, but if you're going to do that, why pay for it just print it yourself. You can print it out at home for a whole lot less than 100+ bucks. Take that extra 100+ bucks, go buy yourself a nice bottle of wine and enjoy it with your wife, okay? Or your husband if you're a woman watching this, whatever, all right? But save yourself the money and the time, or work with an actual attorney. You can't, I am an attorney. There's a reason it says 1 hour wills down there. There's a reason it says attorney advertising material. I am an attorney. I do estate planning. I do it in a way that I combine the best parts of online speed and efficiency with actual legal counsel, where we have an actual half-hour discussion about your family and get your documents signed all at once, okay? That's about as convenient and cost-effective. And by the way, it costs about the same as what you're going to find anywhere else online for a paid service. The difference is you actually are getting the completeness, customization, and coverage that a trust and will, LegalZoom, and of these others won't give you. That's it, friends. I don't want to take any more time than that. I hope this has been helpful. Again, whatever you do, all right, if you've already bought an online will, don't kick yourself for it, all right? It's great, okay? What's done is done, but just understand the next go round, just make sure if you're going to go online again, I just don't think you should pay for it. And if you're not going to go online, if you feel like paying at least a little bit for it, I do suggest working with an attorney, someone you can actually get to know and trust and who will be there in case things do go wrong. All right, friends, that's it for today. Thanks for joining this first edition of 1 Hour Wills Live with its super cool intro. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Take care, guys.